Welcome, students, to the second part of the fifth chapter, Temperature, presented by Gracian Mesquita. In the previous part, we looked at the meaning of temperature, the distribution of temperature on the Earth's surface into three zones: the torrid zone, the temperate zone, and the frigid zone, as well as the factors influencing the distribution of temperature. We also learnt the meaning of range of temperature and the greenhouse effect. The images used in this video and the information are taken from the textbook and the internet. Our learning objectives for today will be meaning of convection and the vertical flow of heat in the water, ocean currents, the factors influencing ocean currents, meaning of isolines and the different types of isolines, isotherms across the globe, and thermometer with the different types of thermometer. You stay at Maswad in Man Taluka in Satara district. Your grandma stays at Vengurda in Sindhudurg district. During Diwali, you often visit Vengurda. You like the sea coast there. The warm air of that region attracts you because you are freed from the dry air and scratching cold of your place. This time, Grandma is suffering from asthma. Doctors have advised her to stay at a place which has a drier climate. What will you do? As you can see in this map, that Satara falls in the continental area, whereas Sindhudurg falls in the coastal area. By this we understand the difference of temperatures in both areas. Well, let me tell you the difference between humid air or warm air and dry air. Humid air is the air that holds water vapor, whereas dry air is the air that does not hold water vapor. Humid air is also harder to breathe, which can be a problem if you have asthma. Breathing in humid air activates nerves in your lungs that narrow and tighten your airways, making it very difficult to breathe. Hence, Grandma is advised to stay in a place which has drier climate. Students, let's do an activity. In this activity, you will require a pot and a burner and 4 to 5 small plastic buttons. This activity will help us understand the meaning of convection and the vertical flow of heat in water. For this activity, a pot with water is placed on a burner. Drop 4 to 5 small plastic buttons in it and observe the movement in water. When water is heated, it expands or increases in volume. When water increases in volume, it becomes less dense. As water cools, it contracts or becomes less and decreases in volume. Convection is the transfer of heat by the circulation or movement of the heated parts of a liquid or gas. As you can see in this image, that the heated molecules are moving upwards. Thus, the buttons with it are too pushed on the surface. The cooler the water in the upper portions move downwards, taking the buttons with them. This happens continuously. In other words, on heating, an upward current set in the water. In nature, the conditions are slightly different as compared to this pot on the burner. Due to temperature differences, both upward and horizontal currents develop in the ocean. Ocean currents are the movements of ocean water due to gravity, the rotating earth, water density, the sun, and the wind. The various factors determine the size, speed, direction, and shape of ocean currents. The water can either move horizontally, known as currents, or vertically, known as downwellings or upwellings. Ocean currents are responsible for the transfer of heat, differences in biodiversity, and the climate of the planet. Solar heating causes water to expand. It causes a slight slope in the water and it flows down the slopes. Warm water flow towards the cold polar regions and cold water flow towards the warmer equatorial regions. Winds, water density, and tides are the factors that influence ocean currents. Wind is responsible for ocean currents as it blows the water on the surface, causing the currents. The wind is responsible for surface currents where ocean water is redistributed based on its density and temperature. Water density also means the depth or deepness of the water, as well as the tidal effect. The waves in the ocean are a major factor that influence the ocean currents. Other factor is the Earth's rotation, which also influences these currents. So, winds and ocean water get deflected from a straight line path as they travel across the rotating Earth. This phenomenon causes ocean currents in the northern hemisphere to go right and in the southern hemisphere to go left. These ocean currents flow from the equator to the polar region and from the polar region to the equator. When an ocean current flows from the frigid zone to the torrid zone, it reduces the temperature of the coast in the torrid zone. When a current flows from the torrid zone to the frigid zone, it increases the temperature of the coast in the frigid zone. Ocean currents are responsible for moving the heat from the equator and towards the poles, that is the polar region. As such, they maintain the natural order and balance of the climate. Warm ocean currents are responsible for keeping the ports in the polar region operational or workable. It is because they keep the ports ice free. Marine wildlife is heavily dependent on the balance created by the ocean and is maintained by the ocean currents. The currents carry nutrients and food organisms, feeding the plants and animals that depend on them. Humans also rely on ocean currents to move some of their sea vessels, such as boats, on water. The regions where warm and cold currents converge are favorable for the growth of planktons. Planktons are the food for fishes. Fish from other areas travel around these area in large numbers. They breed in warm waters. Due to high concentration of fish population, fisheries thrive well in these areas. Now, plankton includes plants and animals that float along at the mercy of the sea's tides and currents. Their name comes from the Greek meaning drifter or wanderer. There are two types of planktons, tiny plants called phytoplankton and zooplankton, also called as weak swimming animals. Some are babies that will grow into strong swimming non-planktonic adults. Others will remain plankton for their entire life. All jellyfish and the ocean sunfish are such feeble swimmers that they too are included as planktons. Most of the planktons in the ocean are plants. Now, phytoplankton produce their own food through the energy of the sun in a process called photosynthesis, while zooplankton feed on the phytoplankton. Planktons have evolved in many different ways to keep afloat, to keep floating across the water. Now, as you can see in this one image about the planktons that glow in the dark, they are known as bioluminescent dinoflagellates. They are also a type of plankton, tiny marine organisms that can sometimes cause the surface of the ocean to sparkle at night. There are a number of methods of showing distribution on a map. One of these is isoline. Due to this method, the characteristic distribution of a component stands out vividly. Topographic maps use a variety of symbols to represent human and physical features, including isolines, which are often used on a map to represent points of equal value. Isolines, also referred to as contour lines, can be used to represent different things on a map by connecting points of equal elevation. Now, there is a list of some common types of isolines used on a map to represent different features: atmosphere, distance, magnetism, and other visual representations which are not easily shown on a two-dimensional picture. The prefix iso means equal. Isolines can be drawn using statistical information about natural forces. These lines are drawn on a map by joining all points having the same value. The distribution on regional or global levels can be shown using isolines of different factors like contours, isotherms, isobars, isoheights, etc. So what is an isobar? A line representing points of equal atmospheric pressure. The second one is isoheights. Isoheight is a line representing points of equal precipitation, or sometimes known as rainfall. Isotherm. Isotherm is a line representing points of equal temperature. There are many more types of isoline, such as isopleth, a line representing points of equal numerical value such as population, or isotac, a line representing points of equal wind speed and considering the temperatures of various places on Earth, maps of global distributions are prepared. Isotherms are lines that connect places with the same temperature after avoiding the effect of height. These lines generally appear parallel to the latitudes on a map. As you can see, that points with equal temperatures are connected with these lines and are called isotherms. The Greek word of iso means equal, and the Greek word for therm means heat. It is also in other word known as thermometer, which is a device used to measure temperature. as we understood what isotherms are and how they represent the temperatures on the Earth's surface, let's observe on this map the isotherm at 25 degrees Celsius, where this line occupies areas close to the equator. The shape of this line appears like an ellipse on the map. Ellipse is like an oval shape. The north-south spread of this ellipse is greater on the continents as compared to the oceans. The isotherm line occupies some parts of the continents of South America, Africa, Asia, and Australia. You will also find that two isotherms with a label of 0 degrees Celsius. The 0 degrees Celsius isotherm from the southern hemisphere is largely straight and is parallel to the line of latitude. Comparatively, the line of the same value in the northern hemisphere deviates north and south considerably. In the west, in parts of the Pacific Ocean, it is fairly straight, but when it enters the continent of North America, it turns somewhat to the north, then the line proceeds eastwards. Within a short distance after entering the Atlantic Ocean, it turns towards the northeast. In this part, you will find all the isotherm lines turning towards the northeast. This is because a warm ocean current is located in this area. Further, after entering Eurasia, while moving eastward, it turns somewhat to the southeast. Still further in the Pacific Ocean, most of the isotherm lines appear moving eastwards as straight lines. The isotherms in the southern hemisphere are fairly parallel to the latitudinal lines. From South Pole to the Tropic of Capricorn, the distance between these lines is almost equal. As the proportion of land in the southern hemisphere is limited, temperatures in these parts are largely influenced by latitude. In the northern hemisphere, the distance between these lines varies and is different. In this hemisphere, the proportion of land is comparatively greater. This affects the distribution of temperature. These effects are seen in the form of variations in the distance between the isotherm and curved nature of these lines. Thermometer is the universal instrument used to measure temperature. Temperature and heat are two words that often confuse people. Heat is a form of energy and its unit is joules. On the other hand, temperature is the measure of that heat. This means if the heat is more, the temperature is more. We use a device called thermometer to measure the temperature of any object. There are different units to measure temperatures like Celsius, Kelvin, and Fahrenheit. There are different types of thermometers according to their needs. For example, there is one set of thermometer that are used to measure body temperature, while another set of thermometers to measure boiling point and freezing point during experiments. Now, first one, the clinical thermometer. Clinical thermometers are meant for clinical purposes. It is developed for measuring the human body temperature. It is a long narrow glass tube with a bulb containing mercury at the end. Clinical thermometers mostly are sterilized before use for the safe and clean checkup. Now, the next type of thermometer is the laboratory thermometer. Since clinical thermometers can't be used to measure temperature other than the human body, we need a special type of thermometer for other purposes. A laboratory thermometer, which is known as a lab thermometer, is used for measuring temperatures other than the human body temperature. It ranges from minus 10 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius. Laboratory thermometers are designed for lab purposes such as checking boiling point, freezing point, or temperature of other substances. Weather reports also use maximum minimum thermometers for measuring maximum and minimum temperature of a place. There are different types of thermometers are used for measuring the temperature of air. Mercury is a type of metal in liquid form, or alcohol is used in the thermometers. The freezing point of mercury is minus 39 degrees Celsius, whereas that of alcohol is minus 130 degrees Celsius. These materials are highly sensitive to temperature variation. Therefore, variations in temperatures from minus 30 degrees Celsius to above 55 degrees Celsius can easily be observed with the help of these materials. The measurement of temperature is comparatively a new concept. Early scientists understood the difference between hot and cold, but they had no method to quantify varying degrees of heat until the 17th century. Temperature is a measure of the amount of heat energy possessed by an object. Daniel Gabriel Fahrenheit was a German physicist who is credited with the invention of alcohol thermometer in the year 1709 and the mercury thermometer in the year 1714. The Fahrenheit temperature scale was developed in 1724. Anders Celsius was a Swedish astronomer credited with the invention of the centigrade scale in 1742. Celsius chose the melting point of ice and the boiling point of water as his two reference temperatures to provide for a simple and consistent method of thermometer. Lord William Kelvin was a Scottish physicist who devised the Kelvin scale in 1854. The Kelvin scale is based on the idea of absolute zero, the theoretical temperature at which all molecular motion stops and no energy can be detected. In this theory, the 0 point on Kelvin scale is the lowest possible temperature that exists in the universe. The difference in daily temperatures, that is maximum to minimum, can be observed with the help of a thermometer. Air temperature is measured in Celsius. Well, students, let's have a quick recap of the things we learned today. We learned about convection and the vertical flow of heat. That is, water expands when heating and the hot water from the base moves upwards. We also learned about ocean currents. What are ocean currents and what are the different factors affecting ocean currents like winds, density of water, tides, etc. We also learned that ocean currents flow from the equator to the polar region and from the polar region to the equator, and how these flow of ocean currents affect the temperature and bring a balance in the temperature of the equator and the polar regions. We also learned about planktons and the different types of planktons. Planktons are basically food for fishes. They are tiny microorganisms that you find in the oceans or the sea or lakes. Now we also learned about isolines. what are the different types of isolines, and why are they present on the globe, to tell us about the different temperature, pressure, rainfall, etc. We learned about one specific isoline, that is the isotherm. We learned that isotherms connects us to places with the same temperature. We also learned about the different isotherms on the globe and how they are divided at different temperatures. The last thing we learned today was about thermometers. We learned about the different types of thermometers, two types of thermometers, that is the clinical thermometer and the laboratory thermometer. Clinical thermometer is used to measure the temperature of the body, while a laboratory temperature thermometer is used to measure the boiling point and freezing point of different other things other than the human body. We also learned the different measures used for checking the temperature, that is the units of measuring temperatures, that is Celsius, Celsius degree, Fahrenheit degree, and Kelvin. So we also know that air temperature is measured in Celsius. Thank you, students, for being so attentive during this video. Hope you enjoyed and understood in everything that was explained in this video.